Wanted to welcome you to the first video in the series of video lectures for the statistics course. We're going to go through these. You're going to see a little bit of my face, unfortunately, for a little bit, just so you can, I don't know, make some sort of connection with me, the instructor, to the content. This first lesson we're going to look at is on data collection. We're going to go through this pretty fast. Really aren't a lot of problems to solve per se, so a lot of it's just vocabulary and just getting a sense for what statistics is. So the first part is we've got to collect data. And we need to be able to, the objectives for this entire chapter, we need to be able to differentiate between the two branches of statistics. We have descriptive and inferential. For the first part of the course, we're going to be looking primarily at descriptive type statistics. And in the second half of the course, we primarily look at inferential statistics. We're going to identify different types of data. We've got qualitative data and quantitative data, or categorical data. We have discrete and continuous. And we need to identify the four types of sampling techniques. We have random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. And then to be able to explain and recognize differences between an observational study and an experimental study, because the conclusions we draw from those two different types of studies are completely different. And that's really important. That's a huge part of the entire course, actually. So we'll be hitting a lot of these objectives, not just in this one chapter. It'll make more sense when we actually start looking at studies and saying, is this an inferential study? Can we make an inference from this? Is this an observational study? Is this an experimental study? So I'll kind of do a little bit here, but it'll really begin to hopefully hit home with you when we actually begin to do these within the course. And the last objective, I think, is to explain and recognize the misuses of statistics. We all know that people can use statistics to sort of lie, right? They can kind of make their case for something by manipulating the data, or by manipulating how charts and graphs look, and even by manipulating the original questions that are asked in surveys and things like that. So we will look at that. So what is statistics? We all have a sense for what it is, but a couple definitions I like are: statistics is about how to think clearly with data. Another one is, and I like this one, is the art of distilling meaning from data. You're going to be looking at this set of data points or observations, and well, what does this mean? How can we interpret this? Data have a story to tell, and our objective is to uncover that story. So in a word, a lot of times we like to summarize certain disciplines with one word, right? One or two words. So economics is about money, why it's good. Psychology, why we think what we think. Biology is life. Anthropology, who. History, what, where, and when. Philosophy, why. Engineering, how. Accounting, how much. Statistics is about variation. Data vary. People are different. We can't see everything, let alone measure it all. And even what we do measure, we don't measure perfectly, right? So the data we end up with is at best an imperfect picture of the world. This fact lies at the heart of what statistics is about, right? How to make sense of it is the primary challenge that we'll grapple with in this course. So the process of statistics. We want to be able to see statistics as a process. It's not like in algebra where we just solve an equation. We're going to be given a situation. We want to identify the research objective. We want to be able to collect data needed to answer the questions that we actually posed in this first one. And then describe the data, using charts, pictures, tables, and then we want to perform some sort of statistical test called an inference test. And we'll look at those in the second half of the course. So here's an example. A lot of the stuff, and you're going to see lots of word problems in statistics. In fact, this class, almost every problem is going to be a word problem. So you want to get used to being able to read these, right? You want to be able to get used to reading and kind of picking out the parts. You may have to read it through a couple times. I've got to read them through a couple times sometimes to get a sense for what we're trying to do. So let's read through this, and I'm going to it may be painful to listen to, but I'm going to actually read through all of these. This will hopefully help you as you're reading through them to hear me read it and to emphasize certain words, but also for students with disabilities that may have a hard time actually seeing the screen. Okay, so many studies evaluate batterer treatment programs, but there are few experiments designed to compare batterer treatment programs to non-therapeutic treatments, such as community service. Researchers designed an experiment in which 376 male criminal court defendants who were accused of assaulting their intimate female partners were randomly assigned into either a treatment group or a control group. The subjects in the treatment group entered a 40-hour batterer treatment program, while the subjects in the control group received 40 hours of community service. After 6 months, it was reported that 21% of the males in the control group had further battering incidences, while 10% of the males in the treatment group had further battering incidents. The researchers concluded that the treatment was effective in reducing repeat battering offenses. Okay? And so what we'll do in this class is I may give you some data, and you would come to that conclusion. You would see look at the percents, and you would perform a statistical analysis to determine if those percents are statistically significant. At this point, we're just going to